Hi everyone, I'm young adult author Mary Gray, and I'm here to tell you why I've decided to go the indie author route. And when I say indie, I mean an independent author. Instead of working with a literary agent, like I have in the past, who would try to sell my manuscript to a traditional publishing house, I've decided to go it alone, and I would like to share with you why. In this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about my experience in traditional publishing in the past, um, the biggest myth I've discovered this past year regarding traditional publishing, how the push for diversity has affected me as an author, and finally a few teasers regarding what I plan next. So first, my experience in the past. So many of you know me as the author of The Dollhouse Asylum, a young adult thriller about a young girl who's trapped in an asylum-like subdivision and she's trying to escape. Now, this book I had a lot of fun with. I worked with a great agent who sold it to Spencer Hill Press. It was released in 2013. I was able to go to BEA, where I signed advance review copies for book bloggers in New York, and it was just an all-around great experience. I learned so much about the craft of writing from an editor, and I couldn't have had a better experience all the way from my cover artist to the production of the book. Kate Kynack, the past owner of the company, was phenomenal to work with. Now, when the book came out, I had a few book bloggers who really attacked it. They did not like my protagonist, Cheyenne. The book is about a girl trying to escape an emotionally abusive relationship, and they couldn't relate with that type of a protagonist, which was their prerogative. But it became so negative that I actually quit social media for a long time because it affected me so much emotionally and I couldn't seem to create. So I went back into my writing cave and researched, had a few false starts, but finally honed in on this concept of a French Revolution novel, a Gothic romance. And it's the book I'm actually getting ready to put out to the world next. But it took me years to research the French Revolution. And I've always had this kind of sick fascination with the guillotine. And so I wanted to draw this creepy dichotomy between beauty and creepiness, and I didn't know how I was going to go about it. So it took me a long time and lots of revisions. A couple years later, I signed with a new great literary agent because my old one had quit shortly after selling Dollhouse Asylum to Spencer Hill Press. And this agent actually worked for a Christian literary agency, which was exciting for me because I belong to a Christian faith. And we worked on this novel. It's called Our Sweet Guillotine together. And we put it out to several publishers hoping somebody would want it. Well, this past year has been pretty, tense. I've watched submissions and the majority of editors actually didn't even respond to the submission from my agent. So I think that that's one of the big myths I believed in regarding traditional publishing was, as long as you have a literary agent, people will take you seriously. And she would submit, and a lot of these editors didn't even bother to respond, which was really frustrating. Well, about a year of this, my agent actually decided to quit. So this is the second time I'd had this happen, but I understood why, because nobody was taking her seriously. And we were both really excited about this product that I had, but we didn't know how to get it into other publishers' hands. And this agent actually started this fantastic magazine called The Faithful Creative, and it's about believers who create. And she said one of the reasons why she wanted to sign with me was because I had actually written a story that had Christian messages, but it had an edge. It wasn't your cozy, traditional Christian faith-based book. It's kind of edgy, And when she created this magazine, I wrote up this article about how I was hoping some traditional publisher would open the floodgates to us faithful creatives. Well, she quit, and I came to terms with the idea of being alone again, and I had to ask myself, did I just want to throw in the towel? I've put in years and years and seen very little success, especially with this latest novel that I'm so excited about. But we had actually sold our big 4,000 square foot house in Fort Worth to move out into the country, live in a small home that we paid cash for so that my husband and I could pursue our dreams. And I have a friend who actually teases me. She says, "Oh, Mary, you've gone to the wilderness to write." And that's what I did. And with all this rejection over and over and over, I had to ask myself if I wanted to keep going. And I reached out to several of the other contributors to the Faithful Creative magazine, and they felt the same way. That a lot of us are creating these stories, but a lot of the publishers out there aren't interested in these types of messages, which brings me to the part about how we have this need for diversity, and I see that, and we need to learn about other cultures and people and underrepresented voices. But a lot of editors and agents specifically say they're not interested in Christian messages. There's this website called Manuscript Wishlist, and they list the types of stories they're looking for. And you put in historical, you put in Christian, young adult, and there's like no hits, maybe 2. And that's very discouraging to me. And so I kept thinking about, well, what if I had my own press and I helped other people create these types of stories? And I was like, Mary, you can't get ahead of yourself. You don't even want to go be an independent author. You've always wanted the legitimacy of a strong publisher at your back, somebody who has been around for a while, who really knows their stuff. But the more I prayed about it and the more I thought about it, and I talked to my sister, who has helped me so much. She's my critique partner, and I'm actually working on a book with her right now, and she's so talented. She was like, Mary, you should do this. And I thought, I don't know. So Cami and I, my sister and I, have plans in the works, but the first step to this dream of bringing more faith-based, edgy type stories to the general market is to send a book out in the world like that. And Our Sweet Guillotine is that perfect book. When I was trying to decide for sure that this was what I really wanted to do, I reached out to a few of my friends who are independent authors. And one of them suggested, Mary, you need to listen to Joanna Penn's podcast. She's great at empowering authors to let them know that they can do this. And I thought, yeah, I probably should. I don't know. But eventually I started listening, and I am hooked. She gives so much valuable advice and supplies so many resources that can show us what we need to do to hire a cover artist, where we can find credible editors, how to format our novels, what we can do to actually get them to readers, things like that actually make sense. And with the digital age, there's never a better time than now. I have other friends who've been very successful. They have many books out, and they did it themselves, and their examples have really helped me think, yes, I can do this. So I have hired a cover artist. I have hired a line and copy editor. Past editors have actually given me a lot of feedback on Our Sweet Guillotine, including adding more subplots. And I'm really excited about the content of the story, so we're just going to cross the T's and dot the I's and make it perfect. I've purchased ISBNs. It's the International Book Number for books, if you want them to be recognized by things like bookstores and libraries. And I've learned about formatting. There's an excellent software out there that authors can use to format their own books. So I have many great things in the works, and I want to tell you all about it in future videos. So be on the lookout, and I'll share more about my plans for the future, and I hope that you'll come along with me on this journey. And feel free to subscribe to this video channel and to click the newsletter so that you can receive updates on Our Sweet Guillotine's progress. If you would like to be a reader for advanced review copies, to be on my street team, any of those things, please join my team, and I look forward to putting out quality products. Thanks so much. See you next time.